Hey, Space fans! Welcome to our Facebook Live here at Space.com. I'm Space.com Managing Editor Tariq Malik, and this is...
I'm Marshall Honorof. I'm a senior writer for Tom's Guide, Space.com's sister site, and I'm also a contributor to Space.com.
And we are here to talk about Star Wars, right?
Oh, Star Wars.
No.
I mean,
No. We're going to talk about Star Trek today. Marshall, one of our foremost experts on Star Trek. I've been a lifelong fan. I'm not sure if that's ever been picked up on the Twitter and whatnot. But something special happened over the weekend, Marshall, yeah?
Yeah, brand new movie. How often do you get a brand new Star Trek movie in theaters?
Apparently every 2 years, it seems like almost. But
hey, I'll take it.
Well, so Star Trek Beyond hit theaters on Friday. I just saw it got something like $56.5 million in box office revenue, which is a pretty strong start for the franchise. I think better than at least the last one.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for a midsummer movie as well. People are kind of in the doldrums. It's not necessarily the biggest summer blockbuster series. We're not talking about like a Marvel movie. It's a good opening. It's a strong start.
93% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, that's not anything to shake a stick at, right?
Nope.
And, I mean, it's the 13th movie. That's an odd movie. We all know about the curse, right? The odd movie curse.
I've heard some interesting ideas that with the reboot series, the curse might be reversed. That now we're talking about the odd number ones are good and the even number ones are less than good.
Oh, well, we've only got a field of 3 to consider so far.
Yeah, it'll have to be at least 4 before we get a pattern.
All right, so we'll start talking about Star Trek Beyond because I thought it was great. We don't want to get into too many spoilers. I mean, it's just out. Folks online might not have had a chance to see it, so we're going to try to keep it, when we talk about specific moments, to what you can see in the trailers, because we'll assume that if you're watching a Facebook Live about Star Trek, you probably have seen the trailers to that movie. But so, Marshall, I mean, what'd you think? You saw it when? You saw it last night?
Yep, I saw it just last night, so I'm still parsing through some of my feelings about it. It was definitely an improvement over Into Darkness. I don't know exactly where it sits in comparison to the reboot, just Star Trek 2009. I think that it's definitely worth going to see if you're a Trek fan. You've definitely got to go see it. If nothing else, just draw your own opinion. I think it's middle of the road quality-wise in terms of Trek films, but it has a lot of really good Trek moments, and that's something I think that Into Darkness and even to some extent the reboot were missing. Some of the action scenes can get a little too long, a little too over the top, but there's at least 3 or 4 extended scenes in the movie where I'm thinking, yeah, this is classic Star Trek, when scenes of Mr. Spock and Dr. McCoy together especially, or where they're talking about the ideals of the Federation, things like that. Like, this is what the series is here to explore.
So, would you recommend it to a non-Trek fan?
To a non-Trek fan, yes. I think it's an easy sell for a summer action movie with a great ensemble cast.
All right, great. So I saw it Thursday night, I guess, with a preview. And I regret not seeing it in 3D because it seems like that might be the bit. Did you see it in 3D?
No, 3D movies don't usually do much for me, so I try to save a couple bucks and get the 2D.
Yeah, I saw it in just regular HD or whatever it is. I'm probably going to go see it again in 3D just because you may have seen it in the trailers. The Enterprise doesn't fare too well in this movie, and it was absolutely spectacular to see that happen. As sad as it might be, I am a ship fan. You might notice. And so it was just I had a great time. It was a ride. I want to go for a ride on those in these movies, and so it was a lot of fun.
Well, it's definitely a ride, and like I said, there's a very steady drip of action scenes, which I think is something that the Trek films, even the good ones, have kind of struggled with. Star Trek 1, a motion picture, no action whatsoever. There was that very, very abbreviated firefight at the very beginning, and that's it. Then even Star Trek 4, not a whole lot of action. There's a scene with the whaling ship, about it.
Although you get a lot of comedy, you get a lot of laughs in Star Trek 4.
Yes.
So
this movie actually got a pretty good amount of laughs. A lot of good character interactions, and a lot of the theater was not in stitches the whole time, but they had a lot of well-placed one-liners, and people were laughing and seemed to be having a good time enjoying the dialogue. The cast just nails it. They really, really get those parts, especially Carl Urban as Dr. McCoy, I think.
Yeah. At a 2-hour-plus running time, too, it did not feel plotting to me.
Nope.
So, it was definitely like we were in it. And there were a lot of folks really just in it in the theater I was watching it from, laughing, cheering, which I hadn't seen before in a movie theater in a long time, actually.
Yeah, definitely some applause during the big action moments and some of the big triumphant moments. As you said, the Enterprise gets pretty battered and people were feeling pretty worried and talking to one another, what's going to happen. I think people who have seen The Search for Spock have an advantage. They know it's the third movie, the Enterprise is going to blow up.
Yes, my God bones, what have I done? Right?
What you had to do.
We've got our little fun trinkets here. Marshall brought his Tribble in today.
Yep, just one for right now. I guess we'll see if we get any more later on.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. And I've got my Think Geek You see it? That's actually my daughter. She's 7, and she loves this little thing. And our little Mega Bloks model. That's my desktop at my house. Just to remind me that if it's not Shrek, it's not really worth paying attention to sometimes. So, well, Beyond was great. So we talked a little bit about that movie. Reboots aside, oh my gosh, man. I guess we're having a little recreation of the film here.
Yeah, there it goes again.
What's your favorite out of all the Star Trek movies?
You know, I'm going to catch some flack for this. I know that you're supposed to say Wrath of Khan. Wrath of Khan is a great movie, but having gone back and rewatched all of them recently, I think First Contact is the one that really rises above the rest for me.
It's a good A/B plot in First Contact.
Yeah, I mean, I love that all the crew gets a little time in the spotlight, but it pushes Picard to his limit. That is as far as the character can go toward absolute madness, losing it, going evil. And I think the performance is just great. His performance is great. Alfred Woodard, her performance is wonderful as Lily, and Alice Krige is the Borg Queen. It's just these terrifying performances across the board, really captivating, and great action scenes, too.
It's funny you mentioned not picking Wrath of Khan, because I think that folks really do think that that's like the pinnacle of films. Personally,
it's a great movie.
Well, I think it's great too. But I'm a Star Trek VI, Undiscovered Country, kind of guy. The Klingon Empire has crumbled after the explosion of the Praxis moon, and everyone has to pick up the pieces. And I mean, that is a movie that I have literally watched. There was one summer where I watched it every single day for the entire summer. I was going to school at that time, so it wasn't like I was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But it was on after school every night, or every afternoon, and so that's one of the few that I can recite line for line, I think.
You know how everyone has that handful of movies that no matter how many times they've seen it, even if they have it on DVD, if it's on TV, they'll stop it, whatever they're doing and watch it. That's Star Trek VI for me, just because when I was in high school, I remember it was on TBS a lot, I think. And I'd just be surfing through the channels one afternoon, doing homework in the background, and whenever it came on, I'd just stop and say, okay, this is what I'm doing for the next couple of hours.
Well, I guess the consensus then is that Star Trek Beyond, worth watching.
Yeah.
In my case, worth watching twice.
and a little extra treat that I do want to mention, not to spoil any of the story, and we'll keep it very couched, but if you're a Star Trek Enterprise fan, if you like that TV series, Star Trek Beyond will reward your watching that. There are definitely some plot points that hit back to Star Trek Enterprise, and I was really, really happy to hear that, because I think it's a very underrated series.
Yeah, and I have to concur with you. Marshall, by the way, in case you haven't seen, over on both Tom's Hardware and on Space.com, has chronicled basically an odyssey of epic proportions, where he has watched every single episode of every single Star Trek series.
Yep.
There's like, what, 6 of them now?
6 series, yeah, if you count the animated one, which
we do.
Which you do.
and all the movies too, right?
Yep.
Okay,
all
great.
13 now.
So you were prepared when it came time for Star Trek Beyond.
I knew everything I could possibly know going in, and there's a lot of little jokes and references you can catch. But even they've always had a lot of little jokes and references in the reboot and in 12. But I was happy that this time there's some actual storyline stuff that you can. It's not just a throwaway line. There's stuff going on in the story saying, okay, now I understand why this is happening. Now I understand why this character is acting this way. And it really, you have these 50 years of continuity to draw on. I'm really happy that the reboot films are starting to do that now.
Space.com.